And we may have a defensive interference or holding call here based on where the flag is thrown, which may give the Vikings another try here before halftime.
Yeah, the flag was thrown late, and downfield, as you say, Dick, which makes you think that it's nothing against the blockers. Could have been an eligible guy downfield, I suppose, but well, he hit him right in the butt with the pass. But the problem was it was an ineligible receiver in all likelihood, Mike Mahnomen, who was listed as right guard linebacker.
A personal foul. Offsetting penalties. And although there's no time on the clock, the half cannot end on a defensive penalty. So now Minneota will indeed get another play here before the end of the half. Offsetting penalties on the two teams.
Where they get in on there quick.
Rolls to the near side. Now he's across the line of scrimmage. He's got to run, and there's not much room there. The first man to hit him, Brent Miller, who's done the yeoman's work offensively and defensively as well. A first half dominated by the Mahnomen Indians as they have opened up a 43-7 lead. The Vikings scored in their first possession, but were stymied after that.
Now Matt Mervick scratching his head. He's used to vast amount of success, which the Vikings have had all year, and now they're going to have to scramble to make this thing respectable because Mahnomen's got them crushed at this point.
24 minutes away from a record fourth straight state championship in Class C. Let's go down to the field and Andy Skugman.
All right, Dick, I'm standing with Gerhard Mike, the coach of Minneota, and coach, you knew that Mahnomen had a strong running game coming in, but did you expect this out of Brent Miller?
Oh, he's a tough back. And, it's David against Goliath, and Goliath so far is having the best of it. But, our kids will hang in there. We'll come back and see what we can do the second half.
Mahnomen seems to be pretty strong passing, too, as well.
Well, they physically manhandle you up front so bad that your secondary is sucked up to play against the run. And that's what you can do. They're just a good football team.
The mistakes that your team made this half seems to, they turned out pretty costly.
Well, I think you got to credit Mahnomen for that. They just play such tough defense, and they come in hard, and they create those errors. And I don't fault the judgment that Matt's made. He's a good quarterback, and he's giving it the best shot he can. That's the way the high school games go sometimes. That this one isn't over, and we'll come back and give it a good fight.
Coach, what do you say to the players now in the locker room and coming out in the second half?
Keep your heads up and go out and play the game of football. That's what we're here for. And told them, ignore the scoreboard. You don't play for that. You play each down and give it your best shot.
Okay, Coach, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Gerhard Mike, the coach of Minneota, he's got to go into the locker room and rally his troops, try to come back and stop Mahnomen from going on to win their fourth straight Class C championship. Let's go back upstairs to Dick and Gilly.
On our Lincoln Mercury Dealers Association scoreboard, Mahnomen in control of things 43-7 here at halftime. In the first game, it was Kyle Neitzel leading the way for Chicago, Alberta to a lopsided win. Now in game two of the Class C championship, Brent Miller is having an outstanding football game as the Mahnomen Indians are leading comfortably at halftime over the Minneota Vikings. Let's go back down to the field now and Andy Skugman.
Well, Dick, I'm standing with Mike Miller and Pam Miller, the parents of Brent Miller, and we talked with Kyle Neitzel's grandparents, and they said that they were proud. I understand that so are you.
Oh yeah, very proud. It's all the work of the team that does it. But, I'm not much for words though. So.
How about you, Pam? Tell me about your son. What kind of kid is he?
Oh, he's a very nice young man. He really works hard for football, but he also does give a lot of credit to his teammates. He always talks we as a team, nothing ever I. So we're very proud of that.
And that's taught from the parents too, correct?
Well, I guess
Thank you.
What's his plans? What does he have? He's a senior, so where does he plan on going from here?
He really hasn't made any final decisions yet. He's got a lot of different schools he's checked out already, and whatever, we encourage him to go on and continue.
Now he's one touchdown away from tying the Prep Bowl record, 4 touchdowns, rushing touchdowns set by Jason Miller, who is Brent's third cousin.
Third cousin.
And what is, at least you're keeping it in the family then, correct?
Well, I guess that's what they say.
Well, we wish him luck, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back upstairs to Dick and Gilly.
All right, thanks, Andy. 43-7 our score here at halftime. It will take a great comeback for the Minneota Vikings if they want to get back into it. The Mahnomen Indians 24 minutes away from their 4th straight championship. A Channel 9 news update follows this break.
Now, here's Jim Gilliland with a Prep Bowl memory.
The Class C championship matches Mankato Loyola against Mahnomen for the 2nd consecutive year. Mahnomen in the dark shirts gets a drive early. Brandon Yost takes it off the right side, gets through a huge hole, cuts up field, and is knocked out of bounds on the Crusader 2-yard line. From there, quarterback Rich Hader keeps it and gets into the end zone. The extra point is good. Mahnomen leads it 7-0. Crusaders trailing in the first quarter. Rob Craig's punt is mishandled by the Mahnomen return man, and the white shirts are on it, setting up the Crusaders with great field position. Early in the second quarter, Colin Rogness fakes the run, draws the defenders up, and drops it deep to Andy Kolars, who makes a great leaping catch and outmaneuvers the defenders into the end zone. The kick was good, and the score was tied at 7 apiece. The Crusader rooting section likes it a lot. Third quarter, deep in Mahnomen territory, Pete Matacek takes it in for the score, and the Crusaders look like they might wrest the Class C championship trophy away from Mahnomen. But a key play here, the snap is too high. Quarterback Rogness can't handle it, and it's recovered by Mahnomen. Score 13-7. In the fourth quarter, very late, Jamie Troutner takes it off the left side and gets into the end zone to tie the score at 13 apiece. All Mahnomen needs do is make the extra point to retain their Class C championship. But penetration by Kolars forces the kicker to boot the ball wide, and we are headed for overtime. Neither team scored in the first overtime period. Now in the second overtime, Mahnomen would score. Rich Hader goes off the right side, threats to pass, but cuts it back and scores the touchdown. The extra point good. Mahnomen is strutting and leading 20-13. But the Crusaders would have one last chance. Rogness, on a similar play to the one Hader scored on, rolls to the right side, can't throw because of the tremendous pressure by Tony Athman. He is sacked and fumbles, and that spells the end of the ball game. Mahnomen, their 3rd consecutive championship, their 39th straight win, as they take the Class C championship for the 2nd straight year. Mankato Loyola runners-up again.
It would not appear that we will have such dramatics here this afternoon. Mahnomen has an impressive 43-7 lead here at halftime. It was a pretty strong offensive showing early in the first half by Brent Miller, who scored on runs of 80 and 57 yards on the first couple of Mahnomen possessions, and they lead comfortably here 43-7. The defense, Jim, I thought also played very well after Minneota's first possession.
Well, they must have done something to deal with the way Minneota was passing the ball in that 12-play drive that enabled them to tie the score. They must have talked about it because they got a lot more pressure on the quarterback. They didn't enable him to turn and get set. He had those rollouts, but oftentimes you got to really, be in position to set yourself before you throw, and he did not have time after that first drive. They're getting good upfield penetration.
Mahnomen looking for its 4th straight championship. We'll be back with more from the Metrodome right after this message from the Minnesota State High School League. There you get a look at the Mahnomen Indians. They are in front in search of their 4th straight championship. And they dominated play, took advantage of some turnovers, and lead here 43-7 after 24 minutes of play. And you lead by that much, you're going to lead in the statistical department as well.
Minneota taking their time coming out of the dressing room. Of course, they had much more to discuss, but You mentioned the statistical domination, and it's fairly complete there. Of course, Minneota has the edge in passing yardage, but those two throws by Mahnomen have been much more effective. Touchdown passes, both of them, on the scores. 282 yards rushing, 217 of which was achieved by Brent Miller, number 37, the primary ball carrier for Minneota. First downs, you wouldn't think would tell that much of the story, but the time of possession is what's startling. And Minneota, I'll bet you 5+ minutes of that 7:39 that they've had the ball were on the first drive,
right.
the long touchdown drive. Other than that, nothing.
Jeremy Sikora's done a good job handing off, but he's 2 for 2 in the passing department, and as you said, both throws have gone for touchdowns.
And Jeremy's also caught one, and it was thrown by the opposing quarterback. He had an interception on the ball there, thrown by Mervick that really MacArthur had the first interception on the tip play where he tipped it to himself, and then Sikora got one, and it just seemed to unravel offensively as well as defensively for Minneota, who looked so good the first time they had the ball.
Well, the Vikings certainly have an uphill battle. Ken Bauman trying to continue his domination of the 90s. The 90 title, 91, 92, and perhaps 1993 Class C title. Heading up to Mahnomen.
Can't hear what they're shouting there. Maybe it's just numbers, but they waited until Minneota got on the field to do this calisthenic, this loosener thing that Mahnomen's doing. It's their way of rallying before they get going again, and they wanted to make sure the other team saw it for whatever reason.
Talking with Gerhard Might last night, and he said what Ken Bauman mentioned to you during our first championship game, that this Mahnomen team is not team-wise as fast as other teams that they brought down here to the Metrodome, but you'd probably have a hard time convincing the fans who've watched this game because they've seen some pretty good speed by Brent Miller. Great deception by quarterback Jerry Sikora, hiding a ball on the option.
And there's still room for strength in football. Good old-fashioned, bigger-than-you type of football, which is what Mahnomen is up front, and that has been very revealing. On the one rushing touchdown they got that Miller did not score, the touchdown run by Athman, boy, they just lined Athman up deep in a kind of a power formation with the two other backs between the quarterback and Athman, and they just pushed their way into the end zone with the front line push, and then the quarterback serving as handing it off, and the other two running backs leading the way for Athman. He just ran up their backs and into the end zone from about 6 yards away.
Kevin Fear deep to receive the kick for the Vikings. Jeremy Sikora pacing it off. So at least the Vikings will start the second half with the football. That was one of the frustrations for Leroy Ostrander in our first game. They were behind big early, wanted to get their hands on the football, but couldn't for about 6 minutes of the third quarter. Fear works his way across the 25 and across the 30 before the pile drives him down. Several Mahnomen players in on the tackle, including Jamie Wark, who has a touchdown reception here in this football game in the first half. Fear just 2 carries, 10 yards. The top rusher in the first half for the Vikings, Hennon, with 44 yards over 5 carries, most of those coming just before halftime. Matt Mervick trying to get the offense going, and there's Hennon with a first down carry across the 35 to the 37, pickup of about 4 yards before Andy Newman helps out on the tackle and bringing him down, along with Randy Quall.
I imagine we may see more running from Minneota. They want to control the clock, get some first downs, get some respectability back. I don't expect them to be wide open because that hasn't worked.
Hennon with running room right up the middle.